Hello, today I'm going to be reading chapters 26 and 27 out of the book Restart by Gordon Korman and published by Scholastic. This chapter is by Joel Weber, and we've not heard much from him yet, right? So this is it might be his first time that he's written. I can't remember. Okay, chapter 26, Joel Weber. My black eye doesn't hurt anymore, although I look like I lost a game of chicken with an Amtrak train. Appearance-wise, the healing process might be worse than the bruise itself. It's when the swelling starts to go down that the new colors sprout up amid the black and blue. Purples, greens, yellows. Every time I catch my reflection, there's a whole different palette in the piece of modern art on my face. I saw a little bit of orange yesterday. I'm the only one in my family who finds the changing colors around my eye sockets so intriguing. In a weird way, it's easier on me. If I'm sick of looking at myself, all I have to do is stay away from mirrors. My parents don't have that option. When they see my black eye in any of its stages of evolution, they're stricken with guilt. Maybe it was the wrong decision to bring you home, my father reflects sadly. Of course it wasn't wrong, I try to assure them. I hated Milton. But aren't you afraid that, my mother lets out a short, wheezing sob in C sharp. It might be starting up again? Afraid? Sure I am. When Chase, Aaron, and Bear were all over me last year, it was painful, humiliating, and downright scary. If you can't even ride your bike without a lacrosse stick sailing out of nowhere and sending you flying, life becomes impossible. You know it's not your fault. You know those guys are idiots, and yet you can't help thinking you somehow deserve it, that you might be just a teeny bit less worthy than everybody else. After all, how come no one is picking on any of them? But as worried as I am about all that, I think what bothers me the most is how wrong I was about Chase. I honestly believed he'd changed. I was even starting to like the guy. It goes to show how mistaken a person can be. My parents' reaction is bad enough. My sister's is off the chain. Every change in the bruised topography of my face launches her into a new revenge fantasy about what she would do to Chase. If I were in charge of the world, some of these are so brutal and in some cases so downright gross that I have to cut her off. Come on, Shosh, I exclaim as the two of us head for Brendan's house on Sunday morning. Listen to yourself, like you'd ever put another human being through a wood chipper. I never said another human being, she replies evenly. I said alpha rat, and if you were paying attention, I'd say I'd feed him in feet first. That way he gets to watch while his whole lower body... Enough, I interrupt. You wouldn't do that. Nobody would do that. The Spanish Inquisition didn't do that. Only because the wood chipper hadn't been invented yet, she tells me sullenly. Anyway, I sigh, anxious to change the subject. I wonder what Brendan wants. What do you think? She snarls, still in a bad mood. He has another stupid idea for a YouTube video, and we're the cast and crew. The text said that's not it, I reminded her. It better not be, otherwise Brendan's going in the wood chipper. That's my sister. No problem's ever so small that she can't overreact to it. We start up the Espinosa's front walk and come face to face with Kimberly. Oh, hi, guys. She gives me a long, hard look. Your eye is better, she adds dubiously. I'm okay, I say quickly. I don't want Shosh to nominate any more candidates for the wood chipper. You also got the text? My sister asks Kimberly. She nods. And Chase is coming too. What? Chase? Shosh grabs my arm and starts dragging me back down the walk. Brendan explodes out the front door and runs to us. Where are you going? Chase Ambrose isn't coming anywhere near me or my brother, Shosh seethes. That's a tongue twister. That's why I invited you. Chase is innocent. She keeps pulling me along. Well, not totally innocent, Brendan pleads, but he didn't hit Joel on purpose. He was just as blindsided as we were. I've got proof. What proof? I ask. One-man band, he explains. The video survived, and it proves that Chase was trying to stop Aaron and Bear. We're going home, Shosh insists. You go home, I tell her. I'm staying. Here, she demands, with that guy coming over? This time I don't let her push me around. I want to know what happened. I have to see it for myself. And she says too, probably because she thinks I need protection. She stays too. A lot of guys would be embarrassed about that, but I'm at least a little bit grateful. At any minute, Chase is going to walk in Brendan's front door, and I can't predict how I'm going to feel about it. I've seen him around school here and there. Still, this will be the first time since the fire extinguisher incident that we'll be in the same room together. We establish ourselves on the living room couch, and Brendan sets up his computer on the coffee table. I transferred this from one of the flip cams, he explains. I brought it home to shoot something else, and this was on it. He puts out some snacks, and we settle in to wait for Chase. 20 minutes go by. Then we're up to half an hour. Now, do you remember where Chase is at from the last chapter? He's sprinting over to Mr. Solway to tell him that he's found the medal, and he's returning it to him. Kimberly is impatient, mostly because Chase is the only reason she's here. Where is he? Brendan texts again. No answer. Well, what did you expect, Shosh scoffs. He said he was coming, Brendan insists. He cares as much about you as he cares about everybody else except himself. 0. Face it, he blew you off. My sister stands up. Let's go, Joel. We've already wasted enough of our lives, courtesy of Chase Ambrose. I turn to Brendan. Play the video. Chase can see it some other time. We fast forward through most of it, watching musician Brendan popping up all around the risers, playing different instruments for his one-man band. He switches into regular playback once the tuba scene comes up. I feel my stomach muscles tense. As much as I've been bullied, I've never had the opportunity to actually watch it happen before. The impatient expression on Shosha's face is replaced by one of intense concentration. I don't get it, Kimberly puts in. All I see is Brendan. Where's everybody else? You and Joel are there, but you're both out of frame, Brendan explains. Keep watching. We hear Aaron and Bear fling the doors open, even though they're off camera. The first thing we actually see are 2 jets of white foam that catch Brendan full in the face. He goes down, tuba and all. It would be funny if I didn't know what was coming next. When the streams of foam change direction to some target off screen to the right, I know I'm the one in the line of fire. There's a lot of yelling going on, and I hear my own voice in there with Brendan, Kimberly, and the 2 attackers. After a few more blasts of foam, Aaron and Bear step into the frame, appearing on the left side of the screen. The next part I remember all too well. Aaron and Bear are tossing instruments all over the place and trashing the band room. I try to take on Aaron, but he shoves me down into the foam. It's hard to watch, but not as hard as I thought it would be. This is not who I am, I tell myself. It's just something that happened to me. I think that's a really good thought that he just had, that Joel just had, that this is not who he is. He's not getting picked on because he's himself. He's getting picked on because these guys are picking on him. So I think that's important for all of us to remember when someone's being unkind. It's most likely about the person who's doing it and not us. So keep that in mind as you move forward. It's just, so I'm going to read that part again. This is not who I am, I tell myself. It's just something that happened to me. Somehow seeing it unfold in real time in a high definition video, I'm able to expand the fracas in the band room to include every rotten bullying thing that was ever done to me. And here I am, alive, undamaged, well, except my eye. I've been victimized, but I don't have to let that define me as a victim. I'm back at home and back to myself. That's when Chase makes his appearance on the computer screen. He seems totally stunned by what he finds, even when Bear thrusts the fire extinguisher into his arms. I sit forward eagerly because that's my fire extinguisher, the one that's about to bash me in the eye. As I watch Chase and Bear struggling over the shiny metal cylinder, I tense, knowing it's coming any second. I'm following the combatants, checking for the high sign, the nod of acknowledgement that shows that the three are in cahoots, and it's time to clobber the kid who got them put on community service. It doesn't come. Chase wins the tug of war, and my face gets in the way. That's all that happens. Brendan pauses the video. An accident, he says triumphantly. I agree, I tell him. Wow, Chase must be really strong, is what Kimberly gets out of it. Shosha's cheeks are bright red as she digests the truth. My sister judges everything and everybody so harshly that when her judgment fails or falls on herself, it's like the end of the world. He still lied, she says, tight-lipped. He's not perfect, Brendan agrees, but think of the trouble he would have been facing if he'd gotten blamed for all that. If it was you and you saw an easy way out, wouldn't you take it? Shosh is stubborn. I wouldn't be in a mess like that because I don't hang around with pond scum. I look at her. We have to at least talk to him. I'm expecting more of an argument, but she nods. And I can think of plenty of things to say. One of those things should be, I'm sorry, Brendan puts in pointedly. She glares at him. We'll see, but if it is, it'll be the last item on my list. Where is Chase? Kimberly asks in annoyance. Brendan, you said he was going to be here. Brendan is already on his phone talking with Mr. Ambrose, or Mrs. Ambrose. He frowns, thanks her, and hangs up. According to his mom, he's on his way to Portland Street. She said he was in a real hurry. Did he forget to come? I ask. Brendan shakes his head. He said he'd be here. He just texted a couple of hours ago. Shosh stands up. Let's go over to Portland Street. All right, end of chapter 26 and on to chapter 27. This is Eric Hackeman, and this is Aaron, and this is one of the bullies. Young man, we've been waiting nearly half an hour, the Dumbledores tell me. You promised to set up a card table for us. We'll get to it, I tell her. We're busy. This old bat has a voice like screeching gears on a truck with a bad transmission. You don't look very busy to me. You're just standing around the snack cart eating the cookies you're supposed to be passing out. Which is a big job, Bear pretends to be outraged. Do you expect us to do it on an empty stomach? Chill out, I advise Dumbledore. 5 more minutes. It goes without saying that community service at the Greybeard Motel is about as much fun as sticking your hand in a garbage disposal. The one good thing is you get to mess with the residents. She's been bugging us half the morning to set up an extra card table in the rec room so she and 3 other blue hairs can play bridge. We've been having a few laughs, seeing how long we can blow her off. So imagine that you are living in this residential place and you and your friends are older and you want to play a card game for an hour or so to have some fun. And these young men, these junior high boys won't set up your table for you. That's a very odd behavior for them, don't you think? We've been having a few laughs, seeing how long we can blow her off. 5 minutes? Try 5 hours, maybe 5 days. If she doesn't like it, let her set up her own card table. She's built like a sumo wrestler. In frustration, she retreats into the rec room and Bear and I crack up. Oh, we'll do it for her eventually, right before her head explodes. That's the art to it, picking the moment to give in just when she's about to report us to the nurses. We help ourselves to more cookies, but Bear tries to hog the last chocolate one, and we end up down on the floor fighting for it and laughing like crazy. The cookie is crushed before either of us can eat it. We're getting back to our feet, brushing off the dust and crumbs when we see him, Chase striding down the hall like he's on the Amazing Race, in a real hurry to get somewhere, and not too thrilled about it. Ever since our fight on the football field, he hasn't been turning up for community service. Not that he's really on it anyway. I guess he's back, or at least he's back visiting his video star, the nastiest old Dumbledore in a building overflowing with them. Bear, who has amazing sight, spots the bulging pocket first. It looks like he's carrying a baseball, but there's a piece of cloth trailing from the opening. Hey, Ambrose, I call. What do you got there? He ignores me and shifts his path to the opposite side of the corridor. Bear blocks his way. The man asked you a question. Another shift, so I step out beside Bear, and together we block the hall. Chase does exactly what a running back would do on a football field. He puts his head down and tries to blast through us, but we're linemen and we stop him cold. In a game, I'd be trying to strip the ball. And in this case, I reach down and grab the white fabric and yank. A dish towel opens up in my hand and something flies out of it and hits the terrazzo floor with a clink. Star-shaped blue ribbon, the geezer's metal. Chase falls on it like he's recovering a fumble. Bear and I go down on top of him. 2/3 of that is ours, I snarl. It belongs to Mr. Solway. He doesn't care, Bear grunts. He barely remembers he ever had it. Get off. Somehow he heaves us both clear and scrambles to his feet, clutching the metal in his hand. You're not going to win this, man, I tell him. It's not even unfriendly. I'm giving him valuable information. We're taking that metal no matter what we have to do. He hesitates, considering his options. During the pause, Dumbledore comes back into the hall. What's going on out here? It's more than 5 minutes. We need our table set up. Now. Oh, I'll do it, offers Chase, grabbing the opportunity to get away from us. The metal concealed in his fist, he escorts Dumbledore into the rec room. Bear starts to follow them, but I hold him back. Too many witnesses, man. Be patient. He can't stay in there forever. We watch like hawks from the doorway, figuring he might try to stash the metal and come back for it later, when we're not around. It's in his right hand. He never opens those fingers while he's setting up the folding table and chairs. He keeps one eye on us. I favor him with a grin that says, we're going to get you if we have to stand here until the next ice age. He's toast, Bear whispers triumphantly. The only way out of the room is through us. The Dumbledores in the rec room are fawning over Ambrose like he just saved the world from Lex Luthor or something. They love him as much as they hate us. It's enough to make you barf. He even takes a small potted plant from the TV cabinet and sets it on the table to be a centerpiece. The blue hairs are practically wriggling with joy. Then as Chase turns his elbow, Then, as Chase turns, his elbow knocks the pot off the table. It hits the floor and shatters, spilling earth all over the place. I wonder if that was on purpose. Bear loves it. Ha! Idiot! Ambrose rushes to the corner where a vacuum cleaner stands against the wall. He plugs it in and starts to clean up his mess. We almost miss it. As he runs the vacuum back and forth over the dirt, he opens his hand and drops the metal into the unit's path. In a heartbeat, it's sucked up and gone. He glances over his shoulder to see if we notice. I pretend we didn't, but Bear's face is bright red, which is a dead giveaway. Now, I'm trying to think of the vacuum I have at my house. I don't know if it would suck up a metal very well. I think it would probably spit it back out and make a lot of noise before it spits it back out. So I'm wondering what kind of vacuum this is. It sounds like a very good vacuum. Chase is vacuuming toward us now, speeding up, breaking into a run. The plug pops out of the wall. The vacuum falls silent. He keeps moving, though, charging at us. Bear and I block the doorway and brace ourselves to deck him again. Just before impact, he lifts the vacuum like a battering ram and slams into us. We're both knocked back onto our butts, choking in a cloud of dust that the collision forces out of the filter bag. By the time our vision clears and we struggle back up again, Ambrose is almost out of sight down the hall, still cradling the vacuum cleaner. Now, this is one of those times when we're reading a good book to really kind of stop and envision this scene. Can you imagine the women trying to play bridge, watching all of this happen, and then the two boys trying to block the doorway, and this kid has a big vacuum cleaner, and he gets through the doorway, and then he's running down the hall with this big vacuum in his hands. It's just kind of a really funny scene to kind of envision in our minds. We stare at each other, and the minute we get our breath back, we chorus, "Get him!" We take off after our star running back. We've never been able to outpace him before, but this time he's carrying a vacuum cleaner, not a football. That's bound to slow him down. And I'm going to stop right here. This is a cliffhanger, so I will read to you next time. All right, see you then. Bye-bye.